And so we start off the next morning. Who do you think's waking up first?
We can roll.
That
He's waking.
potentially, yeah. Shall we have a roll of the
Unless
dice?
anybody thinks that they can up early. I think Virtue would be used to those farming hours, getting up early, but I just for funsies' sake, I'm gonna roll. That's a 9.
Oh,
Who?
oh, she's letting that sleep in.
I actually want to ask another thing though. Neris, I I don't know if we want to. I don't know what condition he'd be waking up in. That might determine when, in what order he wakes up, depending on how that went.
That was up to you, depending on if you were going to just stay there the entire night or you know at some point go to your own room because you do have a room rented there. So that would have been your choice at the end whether you would have just stayed there or gone
Right.
back to your room.
Let me. I'm gonna. Uh, I don't think of performance necessarily. Maybe a. I'll just roll to see.
You,
Like.
you have three options. You can roll a sleight of hand, a constitution check, or a strength.
I'll do Constitution.
All right, go for it.
That's a
These are all
7.
straight checks, essentially.
That's a 7.
Okay. Or what was it? You said con?
Yeah.
Uh, poor thing. Or well, let's put it this way: as fun
That
as it
feels
was with
appropriate.
them, you were just you, you weren't expecting both of them, which is what caught you off guard. So, but it was a
Yeah.
great time all the way around. It certainly woken up more or less refreshed, if not just a little tired. And you've
I
got the
think.
letters asked to be delivered. I'll send those. I'll send the info to that later, but those won't come into play until
Yeah,
unless you choose
probably.
to open them.
Yeah. No, he'll wait. He'll
'Cause-
respect their privacy.
all
Uh,
right.
I'm gonna say he did make it back to his room afterwards, but I think that he would be sleeping in then, or since he's tired.
Of course. Well, okay, so who's waking up first? Someone's gonna have to eventually.
Well, Roya.
I rolled a 3.
Oh my god, I gotta roll something.
So,
Oh, 'cause here's the thing. Waking up with time, you guys might have had stuff to do things. Not so. Let's see how much time you guys actually have before this boat leaves.
We're gonna be scrambling to make
Okay.
it on the boat.
Okay. Uh, it's an 11. And a 19. Okay, well, that's at least you guys caught a break on this one. So, it would be on you, Virtue. You were actually woken up roughly 8 in the morning-ish by a knock at your door.
Oh. Oh, okay. Hearing that knock, she would scramble to the door and look outside, realizing that it's not just, the crack of dawn, but indeed a bit brighter. She would panic a little and open the door.
And you see one of the older church members, one of the likely one of the workers at the house, smiling. He's got graying hair,
Mhm.
looks a bit off in his ears, fully human, so easily sustainable. He smiles, says, "Good morning. We have a message for you that was just delivered. Specifically,
Oh,
an invitation,
for me?
though." And he looks just, yes, indeed. And he pulls out and hands you this envelope. Now, the reason that he just looks a little shaky, like not worried or like scared, but more like an odd curiosity and almost a little excitement as he hands you something that seems to bear a very official-looking seal on it. If you can roll me a history check, if
Ooh.
you'd like to see where that's from.
Yes. I'm so excited. All right. History check. Okay. All right. And that is an 18.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Hello?
I think
Can you
he
hear me?
left for the moment.
Well,
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I heard him say, "Oh, I gotta do something quick," or "Oh, let me roll something quick."
Probably the former.
The latter, or the former. Yeah. One of those things.
One of those things is not like the other.
One of these things is not like the other.
Can't. So how's it going, everybody? Got any
Going good.
on our YouTube?
Any vegan flour? Is that what you said?
Oh,
Oh,
there he is.
hey,
Sorry
he's back.
about that. Quick call from work, but it's all good. Okay, so what was that history roll?
Oh, okay. No problem. And actually, right, that was a 19 on that history check.
You recognize it immediately. It is the official seal of the Congregation of Merchants, more specifically, the current ruling house.
Ooh. So that would be Constantine, right?
Yep, that's what you're thinking.
Okay, I'm good.
Of course. Well, you now have this message,
Uh-huh.
and the nice old man essentially bids you good morning and lets you know that there is breakfast being served, but it'll likely be wrapped up soon. He's not sure what the nature of the letter is, so he'll bid you good day and leave you to it.
All right. She will thank him for his delivery and immediately retreat into the room to tear open the letter, trying to be careful to not like mutilate it, but also, she's eager to see it and see what it says.
And you do. It's very nice parchment and beautiful written calligraphy. It's an invitation to breakfast.
Oh my
Writing
gosh,
you,
so bougie.
yep,
Fancy.
asking essentially to spend the morning and a little of the afternoon essentially with them right before you would essentially be taking the ship, if you'd like.
Okay, so that cut for me a little bit. So it's an invitation to breakfast at the house or on the ship, or both.
It's actually no. He's inviting you out to gather breakfast. Seems to be the name of a restaurant. Says it's thanks and an offer to essentially spend the evening until it's time for you to essentially board the ship with him, if you'd like.
Abso-frickin-lutely. Yeah, Virtue is going to immediately go about making sure that her rag curls in her hair look good and that her dress is nice and pristine, her brand new one, and try to make herself as presentable as possible in as little time as possible and be out the door. And not
Great.
not
It
before
does-
bidding goodbye to everyone at the house.
It does give you the name of the restaurant. It's actually called the Saints Rising.
Okay.
You don't know where that is.
Right. That's an important thing to know.
That is very important.
Okay. So, I doubt rolling history or survival check would mean anything since I'm not very familiar with the city. Unless maybe I would have passed it at some point since I've been here. Do you think it's worth me rolling a check on that? Or should I go and start asking people?
You can try you can go for a history if you'd like, or just a straight intelligence check, whichever.
Okay. Alright. I'll try history. Okay. 7?
Wait, cut out for a second. Did you say 7 or 17?
Oh, I said 17. Sorry.
Okay, great. No, that's perfect. Yes, you actually do remember this place being mentioned once or twice by some of the people who have occasionally come for one of the sermons, who are very obviously very well dressed and likely of the higher echelons, either nobility or very well off merchants. Mention this place in passing as a place to go to before or after the sermons for a nice, pleasant bit of company or food. So you'd know this would be in the upper districts. Just from where you are, it's a bit of a walk, but you could probably make it there in maybe half hour.
Okay. Well, then I am going
You're essentially
to
going from
actually speak.
roughly the middle of the city to one of the other, essentially the upper half of it, where it's literally risen from the ground, the part that's built over the other part of the city.
Okay. Oh, I'll try to make my way there as soon as possible.
All right. That's what you'll be doing. Anyone else who got the second highest, or who got the highest out of all you guys? Trying to remember.
I think it was I think it was Virtue, then Neris, then Roya.
I think so.
Okay. All right, then. Well, Neris, you're up. A little groggy, just a little sore. Might have slept on your side just a little bit, but you're finally coming to and realizing, oh, the sun is very brightly up.
I think he takes a moment and kind of like looks around, probably like glasses, like fumbles for the glasses on the nightstand or whatever, kind of puts them on. Like
you
looks
see in the
around
mirror,
room.
and you do have a few. You got to assume they're lipstick marks or something of the sort. You didn't exactly come back and freshen up. You just went straight to bed.
Oh yeah.
So
I think Neris wakes up, walks to the bathroom and sees that, kind of splashes his face once, and that kind of refreshes his mind enough to realize, oh shit, today's the day.
and if you have a watch or something, you can tell that it's a bit into the morning. You were probably thinking of waking up earlier, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think he wanted to like. I think Neris is definitely the type of person to be there like if there's a plane that he needs to catch, he'd be there like 3 hours early at least. Like through the gates and everything, 3 hours early.
Waiting to board, just reading a book, tinkering with something.
Oh yeah, so he's going to maybe in a little bit of a panic. I don't know for certain though. Kind of scramble and grab all his stuff. I think he almost forgets. Actually, let me roll to see if he forgets to actually finish washing off the lipstick. He almost forgets to wash off the lipstick. He like runs, gets everything that is his in this place. And like runs to the door, grabs the handle. It's like, I feel like I'm forgetting something. He kind of looks around the room, rubs his chin, and realizes, oh, yeah, right, the lipstick. And then like goes and finishes washing it off. After that, I think he has one more look over the room and he exits. And I do not know whether he would run into anybody on his way, but I think he would be kind of, now that he's he knows that he's going and he's got time. He was keeping an eye out for any other people that might be leaving, particularly for Virtue and maybe Roya, particularly more for Virtue as he kind of makes his way out and over. The barman is there. He will definitely wave him goodbye.
He'll wave back. Barting a very, like a distinguished old man up behind the bar. I think almost Sean Connery, except the hair's just a little longer.
Thank you for the chat last night, and maybe we'll see each other again sometime.
He waves. Always welcome here.
Gives a nod and heads out the door.
All right, you're making your way like straight there to just wait it out.
How much time do I currently have? Is it like an hour or two to make it
as
there?
you've been told, you'll set sail from where you are to there. You'll get there in under not so much this early in the morning. Yeah, you'll get there in about 20 minutes, walking with everything you have on you, just to get there and essentially hand it to the dock workers to be loaded and just wait until everyone's... You can ask if you can board now, but you're essentially told they're waiting essentially for the tide to be ready, which is more or less midday.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what you're told.
So I think in that case, let me roll to see whether he wants to stop for some breakfast or whether he just wants to book it there. He is going to consider it as he's walking, and he will actually, in fact, go and stop for some breakfast. I don't know if he knows anywhere close by. He's not trying to go out of his way, so I think the place that he went the previous day probably would be a bit too out of the way, but he will find some place nearby. I do not
Depending on how you want to go, if you want to go like street level fast food, which is just something you can literally grab and eat on the go, or like an actual place, like think mini cafe and small meals by, or like an actual restaurant where you'll have to wait for a bit to get the food out ready. Like just a little bar or tap.
Let's see.
You have a few options. How much time do you want to spend on this?
Rolled for it. He'll go for a middling.
You can grab a little rat on a skewer if you're in a hurry.
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. But he's going to go something a bit like mid-level, something that's not too like bougie or like sit down. Nothing that's going to take like an hour. Maybe something like 20 minutes max to get the food.
Where you are, you could actually hit the Raven's Nest if you wanted.
The Raven's Nest? The place that you went yesterday?
Yeah, the place you essentially... You can hit that because you know a few entrances into it. You just... it'd be a little tight, but it's more or less in the time frame you'd want. You can get there and you know you'll be served because it's breakfast and they'll more or less know what you want. You're pretty sure they've got some like mind readers in there, probably.
Probably. They're using their
no waiters ever come to ask you what you wanted. They just brought you food, refills, and bill. It's not yet to be wrong.
Telepathy?
Kind of.
He will. I think he'll go and visit the Raven's Nest, one last time. in that case. I guess it probably does save time on ordering if they already know what you're going to order. So
Oh, yeah, most people they have the menus, which are pretty basic, but half of it is what they can make or usually already have standard ready, and they also have the option of just tell them what you want, which essentially just think of whatever it is you're hungry for, which is what the actual menu says. Think what you're hungry for. It's just a basic enchantment that'll essentially just write down, or you can essentially write it in the menu, and once that's done, just gets sent to them.
Yeah. Now I'm just imagining some scenario where somebody's like super indecisive and can't make up their mind, and the server comes out and it's like, dude, just make up your mind already on what you want to order. But nobody's come to take my order. I know, right?
You imagine that happening, but on the other side, there's also someone who's just, the second you sit down, food is immediately served to them.
Oh, yeah.
And when
And
they're
probably,
asked, it's like, this is actually my first time here.
my first time here, how did you know that I wanted this? We
How did you
always knew.
specifically, lucky guess. No one knows the back of the thing. There's actually a mind flare and like a beholder in the back kitchen, like with bandanas, Food War style.
Two rival chefs competing
Essentially,
to make the perfect meal
this
for their
mind
customers.
flare has like augmented his tentacles specifically to be used in the kitchen. Just immediately flash freeze, like demolecularize. He's essentially the hyper new age chef that's gone into molecular gastronomy. The mind flare is just tentacles everywhere, just making food in all different forms. We're getting off track. Sorry, no. But yeah, no, your food is presented, timely, efficient, and very filling.
It's gonna be a little awkward when somebody wants calamari.
Not really. These guys, they're all about the customer.
Fair enough. Then he will go and visit the Raven's Nest then.
Alright then. You can mark off 2 silver.
Got it.
Alright. We come to our last, certainly not least, sleepyhead of the group.
So I'm assuming she wakes up pretty late with a 3.
A little, yeah. I'm gonna have to throw you back. These guys got roughly around like 9, maybe like 10, and you're hitting at like 11, 20.
Oh, damn. Immediate scramble, whirlwind of throwing things in a bag, making sure she has her thing, all the while cursing while she tries to rush out of the door of her room.
Yeah. You'll notice that like there's a bird there that's just been tapping at your window. And you'll notice that like the room you're actually in, it's blocked for the majority of the sunlight. So the little slice of sunlight that would have normally alert people that it's morning is like literally a foot on the side of where your bed is, where people normally get hit in the face with it to wake them up. So if you are not wanting to wake up, this would be a point.
Yeah, I mean, after the drinks that I've had last night, I get why this is ideal. The morning after, not so ideal. Is the bird trying to
You'll
get
notice
her
you're not
attention?
hungover.
Suggest tapping to tap.
It is, but you'll notice that it's looking specifically at one of the little ornamental decorations in here, which is just a plant. It looks like it has a berry on it. You can roll me an actual Arcana check if you like, or a quick investigation on this very odd, but
16. Okay.
and it instantly clicks in your head that you've heard some of these places actually do this for this tavern particularly. There's a morning good berry, which is essentially like their one free meal. They just give you a good berry.
Sweet. Grabbing that,
There's some
And you
money.
running out
can.
the door.
It does. We've got a few people on standby. You can literally just make one. Just, but instead of that, they actually just had a few druids specifically make a plant that'll grow one a day, but only one, and just pop one in each room.
That works. What if somebody steals the plant?
Well, they'd know, and they also know who rented the room.
That is actually also fair.
Yeah, grabbing that good berry,
You have
running out the door.
all right. You run out there, taking your stuff with you. Just ba-dum,
Run,
like
run, run.
bulldozing anyone in your way. Or you
Absolutely.
are athletically dodging and parkouring your way through.
She's pretty dexterous. She
Parkour.
would probably be parkouring her way through, trying to jump over things and.
All right. It looks like an early 90s Jackie Chan movie. You are just in and out, and you may or may not have grabbed someone's drink on the way before you exit and just slam it down next to the door before you leave.
Thanks, barman! And runs out the door.
Whether that was just orange juice, a corkscrew, or just pure beer, who knows?
We'll find out when it hits me.
For sure.
Probably. But you are hauling ass to the dock. You can choose to, like I said, there are a couple vendors out in the street that actually sell quick street food. There are actual places and restaurants if you want to try and grab a quick bite and somehow still make it. But,
Nah.
What would you like to do?
Running straight to the boat.
She already got her
Cool.
nutrients
I
for the
have
day.
my good berry. I'm good. Let's go.
That's true.
Not exactly the most filling. It covers you, but I don't think
Gets
it's
the
the most
job done. Listen, I paid
enjoyable.
I
$2
mean,
for
I
this
gotta
thing.
wonder. That's actually something I'd love to discuss. Does that just kill the hunger you have and give like you're good for the day, or does it just give you your nutrients, but you're still feeling like I only ate a berry?
I think that's ultimately up to the DM. But yeah,
Yeah, well, we'll say that it kills the hunger, but you still only know you ate a berry, which is weird.
But yeah, running towards the ship. Probably
Yep.
also still trying to dodge and weave through whatever crowd is gathering up since it's almost midday.
True. Oh, fun fact: you know there are custom-made good berries that'll be flavored for a specific meal or specific kind of food. You also know that there's another level to that, which essentially gives you whatever it is you want it to feel like. And it's essentially good berry gum, which is you can just chew something. I'm
Oh,
essentially ripping off the Willy Wonka thing, which is just a full meal, but it's anything you want it to be.
Willy Wonka and
okay.
D&D.
Okay.
Essentially, yeah.
Was my good berry flavored?
Except you don't have to spit it out. Your good berry, you don't know, you haven't eaten it yet, have you?
Uh,
Hello?
uh, will
Hello?
probably pop
Yeah?
it in my
Oh,
mouth as
sorry.
I'm running.
Cool. And you pop it in, you start chewing. And you had a good berry before. You've had a few good berries before. Some of you know, it'll just pop in, chew, swallow, you get what you want. And as soon as you start with this one, it's actually a really nice breakfast. You're tasting
Mm,
pancakes, fresh, nice syrup. It's
Delicious
really,
pancake.
really nice.
ooh,
Yeah.
probably a better
And you'll notice the
breakfast than
more
I
you
would have gotten
chew,
myself.
yeah. So you'll notice that only lasts for about a minute and a half, and it switches off to eggs, bacon, and you're thinking maybe toast or some kind of bread. Not entirely sure. See, like it seems to be cycling through a few things. Lasts for a total of 4 minutes, and as odd as it is, the last like few seconds of chewing just feels like you're downing a glass of juice. You're not entirely sure what kind, but you know it's very citrusy.
Ooh,
A little on the sour side, but it's very much wake up and it's now officially out of juice, and you know you can either swallow it or just spit it out.
Swallow and still run.
Mhm.
Now with an extra added
And
little bounce in my step.
yeah, so you notice the size, like it originally started as the size of roughly a jawbreaker. It was down to the size of like one of those really small packets of gum by the time you finished. But it was good. All right, you are running and you're feeling surprisingly full, but not hampering you. And you see the docks, and you see people getting ready to make way. Docks in full swing. Small line of people that are slowly getting on, handing things over. And you can step in line to do the same.
Yep, get in
And with that, we're going to go back in time just a little bit. Virtue.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Your essential breakfast with, who you assume would be Constantine, and maybe who knows who else is there. But once actually you get to the restaurant, you'll see that there are in fact 3 people there, the same 3 you saw at that little makeshift rescue. Sure, makeshift rescue. It was. So you see Constantine, Desarde, and Kurt. No, let me go check. No, it's
All
Kurt.
right.
Sorry, I'm getting my these names. Kurt is there also, and as soon as he sees you, Constantine gets up, and in a show of almost like more of a show than usual, he walks up to you, arms extended, and says, "Welcome. I'm so glad you made it. Come join us. We've just arrived ourselves."
Oh, well, I'm glad to know that I'm not late. Good morning, my lord. My lady, my lord. And she'll curtsy to each of the people there, a little unsure of what she's doing.
Constantine will give a slight laugh, and Desarde will wave it off and say, "It's all right." Kurt, in the background, says, like, "Don't need to bow to me. The only 2 green bloods are right there." And then Constantine will essentially usher you over to the table and said, "Come, we're just about to order. This place has a marvelous menu. I've also heard they can make things even if they don't have them. It's also the last time I'm likely to have this for quite some time. They usually don't come down here every few weeks, but this is likely to be one of my last, so we're going to make it something special."
Certainly, especially on such an auspicious occasion as today, with the ship leaving.
Yes, indeed. So, and he ushers for one of the waiters to come over. Is there anything you'd like to try? Because, like I said, they have this marvelous menu, but there's also anything you could think of, something you'd love to try that you haven't had, or something you think they might have a better version of here. Please ask.
As soon as he says that, she immediately starts seeing on the menu for just gruel, and then she realizes, oh my, what are all these things? I've never had that. That sounds amazing. What is that? Butter is forbidden. What's this?
Butter is forbidden.
Yes,
And
that
like literally
that
the
menu
Puritans forbade butter. It was too good.
Yeah,
Butter's too tasty. It's all odd.
Like, this isn't right. This is you need to work for this. This isn't. You shouldn't have this. You haven't earned it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for the most part, and Kirk has already essentially just ordered eggs and a trough of like meats. Desarde's ordered. You couldn't really understand the word. It was spoken in something a bit odd. You speak Elvish, and what else?
Let me check here. Common, Elvish, and Infernal.
Right now, you wouldn't have caught this one. weren't sure what Sarde ordered, but she seemed to have said it rather quickly, like didn't even glance at the menu itself, so you're not sure if it was a menu item or just something they asked them to just make. And seeing you
Mhm.
panic a little, Kirk does, after giving the menu to the waiter, just say, if you're having trouble, I can give you a few suggestions. You hungry for something filling, full, and big, or do you want something light and soft, I guess?
Oh, something light will do. I'm excited enough as it is, and I wouldn't want to oppose with too much, really.
No such thing with these two. He says that trying to like hide his voice, but Desarde seems to still hear that and just gives him a very just. It's not even annoyed. It's just uh, a tired eye roll. But Constantine is
Mm-hmm.
happily looking through the menu, just trying to memorize everything he's had, hasn't had. It almost looks like he's going through his own memories in his head. But Desarde does say, then I think you might like what I ordered. It's something rather light. It does the day. Does accompany a few fruits with something baked, and I think you'll like it. Is there any kind of fruit that you've
That
been
sounds
you're more good?
um. Well, whatever you ordered, sir. That's what I'll have then. I trust your judgment.
All right. This they essentially lets him know two of what she just ordered, and Kirk essentially goes
Mm-hmm.
back and says, "Pint for the morning," and Desarde just says, "Simple white for me." And then Constantine finally just says, "Oh, I'm feeling a bit daring, and I haven't had something so rustic. I think the duck will do for this time. I haven't had that since I was a child." Seems almost excited.
Mm-hmm.
And as all your orders are taken,
Simple food for a simple palate.
you say that, and both Desarde and Constantine smile at that, while Kirk essentially like tries to cough to hide his essential chuckle at that. If you want to give me a quick perception check.
Okay. Uh. Let's see. Okay. I actually have a good bonus here. That's a 12.
Yeah, that's enough. You'll eventually do notice around that some of the other tables almost, you know how they have that on most restaurants where they go up to the fancy and they give you those small ass portions of things, like to be had in like on a spoon.
Mm-hmm.
This is the opposite.
Oh yeah.
It's flared up to the extreme. The simplest thing you order will
Oh.
come in a gaudiest plate you've ever seen, in a usually triple the portion you were expecting, and for the most part, you're likely going to eat less than half.
Okay. And
So when your
upon
food is brought
realizing
across to
that,
you,
she'll. Oh, sorry.
you know, because halfway through the conversation, he's essentially asking you where you're from. Constantine is, and just trying to make a polite conversation of where you're from or where you're planning to do when you got to the island. Kirk's just keeping an eye out, essentially fulfilling his role as bodyguard.
Oh well. I am from a small village. 3 days journey from here, if the weather is fair. I imagine you wouldn't have heard of it. It's a small place. Hardly anyone who isn't from there knows about it. And as far as where I'm headed, well, I'm keen to learn more information about my mother. about my origins overall, really.
That's lovely. I hope I can help once we get down to the island and settle up. I'll see if I can help in some way, but if you do need something to do, I'm sure I could find something once I'm settled in. I'm actually, once I take my role as governor and figure out how everything over there goes, final establishments and all that, I'm sure I'll be able to help out. At least I could do.
And I am absolutely indebted to you, sir. I would be eager to help you with all that you've already done for me. And as far as what I do need help with, it simply regards information that has been lost, removed, and kept with the bishops who've moved.
Oh,
Census records and birth records and such.
oh, it's the theocracy then. I'm sure we could send a note out if you'd like. I will eventually have to send an ambassador to send my good wishes and whatnot as I go to establish myself as new governor. I might be able to put in an inquiry if you'd like, or possibly, if you're willing and have the time, make you a part of the envoy and expedition over there to make first greetings.
You want me to be part of an expedition?
Well, once I arrive on the island, establish or take over as governor, and begin to fulfill my duties, I will need to send envoys to essentially extend my greetings and, I suppose, announce my arrival with the other factions of the island. And seeing as what you're telling me is likely to do with Teleme and the theocracy with the church, more than likely I could send a few people as a simple envoy to send my greetings, gather a bit of information as it were, and also if by chance I might be able to help you out, seems a good way to repay my debt to you.
I mean, you've already more than repaid me, and I hardly did anything, so I
You
am
laugh at
most
that.
eager then to repay you for your kindness, sir.
My dear, I do feel like I have to remind you I was, in fact, held captive for a ghastly amount of time in that awful place. Please don't feel as if you've not done anything to deserve this. But regardless, our food's almost here, and after this, if you'd like, I'll likely do a bit of observing Serene, as I'll no longer be able to visit her sites at my leisure as before. If you'd like to join me, or we can simply meet at the ship, as I'm being informed it'll likely leave within the next 2 hours.
I would be honored, sir. But I will say definitely that I am not worthy of such kind and treatment. Not
Well,
compared
we'll
to your
have to.
class, sir.
Well, that's one of the first things we'll help fix once we get onto the island. And with that, you'll see your meals are arriving. Essentially, Kirk ordered a massive steak with a bunch of different cuts of meat, eventually a massive platter. Desarde and you essentially get crepes, but it's essentially you're essentially given a tray of different ones to pick, and it's littered with different fruits. Some you've seen, some you've never seen, and it's just, this would be enough to feed at least 2 full tables, but this is just for the 2 of you. while
my goodness.
Constantine is essentially given. Yeah, no, this place, like I said, it's ridiculous in the amount. They essentially want you to make sure you eat what you want, even though you likely overdid it anyway. And Kirk is
Mm-hmm.
essentially no, Constantine is essentially given two. Essentially, looks like they brought in the uh, front part of a roasted duck. Essentially, still, it almost looks whole, but it's been broken down. Just the breast alongside
Uh-huh.
with bread and essentially everything. You'd think this was Thanksgiving dinner, almost like just a squared portion of it that they've brought out for you. But they're
Mm-hmm.
essentially all just picking out what they like. And for the most part, it only seems to be Kurt and Desarte who looks like they're trying their best to actually fill themselves up with what they've got. Everyone else is actually just slowly picking at it and just savoring the taste, which once you do, if once you decide to grab some, it is very delicious.
Let me see. Let me roll to see how she reacts to this. Um, okay. So, seeing such a great display, she will definitely go for what she recognizes as far as the fruits go and things, and carefully try each of the others, and try to, I suppose, hold what she imagines refined manners to look like. I really couldn't say exactly what level that's turning out at the moment, but she has ideas as far as how to act around nobility, though she's never really seen it before. So she's doing her best to seem polite and, I suppose, dainty, I guess.
All right. Well, you also notice that no one else seems to be paying more attention to you. They're more focused on their own table and meals. You did only get that brief,
Mm-hmm.
glance of everyone's attention once you got here and were essentially greeted by the prince very loudly. But for him, that's more usual when he meets someone new or some old friend. So they're a little used to it. They're just wondering who you are. But for the most part, that's gone down,
Mm-hmm.
and because they know he's essentially leaving. Okay. For the most part, you've now finished your meal, and like you said, you can choose to take that essentially round trip around Celine to get a quick view of the sights, or you can choose
Mm-hmm.
to go straight for the boats or something else. You've essentially got an hour left. That's the hours more or less what it took you to finish your food and the conversation before you guys left. So, what would you like to do?
Okay. Well, I think I'll take Constantine's invitation to go the rounds with him, but also she'll take a napkin or handkerchief and try to fill it with the leftovers as best she can and tie it up in a tidy little parcel.
All right. And you've essentially got a goodie bag, or a doggy bag, more or less.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. You can put that in your inventory as rations. Very high end, so
Okay.
fine rations, I guess, for about a day or so. And
Okay.
you said you're going to
Should I
accompany
put
him?
that in as 1 day or so? Okay.
Yeah, just a day or so's of rations. You said you're going to accompany him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Then you'll essentially spend the remaining hour just touring the city of Serene from its highest to very specific murals, fountains, and places that he seems to have a small story of places he's gone to and things he's experienced before you essentially do make your way to the ship. And he essentially asks you to join him as he boards and greets the captain.
To which she will accept graciously.
Right. And essentially panning back to everybody, essentially in a wide view of everyone who, by this point, the two of you have also gotten onto the ship and are essentially waiting for the very last of the cargo to be set before you are ready to set sail. Both of you will essentially be given the choice of being on the top deck if you'd like, or on the bottom first level of the lower deck is where most of the small rooms are when we stay.
Two of us, meaning Neris and Roya?
Yes.
Okay.
You guys have been here.
Hmm.
You specifically, Neris, have been here for like a minute. Stuff's been loaded. You've been shown where your room is. You've been told you essentially got the first level of the bottom deck and the top level of the middle of the deck to essentially roam and or get a view of the sea and land before it disappears for good.
I think I'm gonna stay top deck personally for at least a little while.
All right, and Roy.
Anime.
Scott,
Yeah.
Are you
can
muted?
can you hear us?
Besties.
You might be muted. If you're talking, we can't hear you. I'm sorry.
So long. Maybe she just doesn't want to talk to us anymore.
Oh no.
I think this is her way of telling us. This is her way of telling us she's a rogue and she's just stealth out of the game.
And she's gone.
No, she's already on the island. That's how good she is.
Very sneaky of you.
Oh, that's the problem. She poof.
Oof, she's
She's
gone.
already on the island, established connections. It's a conspiracy, you guys. It's all a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Should have known better.
Okay.
Double check.
You guys take
Had
top
something
deck.
come up. I don't know.
All right. Well, for the most, all right, we'll start off the journey and see if she'd go back if she wanted to do something. But you guys are all on the ship and you're about to leave. Is there anything you guys like to do or talk about? You are on top deck. While Virtue, you are currently also top deck. Just finished reading the captain. Essentially, think full Jack Sparrow, but in a disheveled like captain's coat, full on, and all of the crew member essentially all color coordinated. Even though all their gear seems to be mismatched, they all seem to be going for the same color scheme, so they know essentially that they are part of the crew. All wearing the same patch of the Nords, which is essentially just a giant ship steering wheel.
Oh, she's back.
Back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we asked for you, I guess, right after you
You
left
just
or
missed
something.
breakfast and getting on the ship.
Okay.
We have no. What was the last thing you heard?
Heidi was in the middle of breakfast.
Okay. She's finished her breakfast. She's got a nice little doggy bag, and she took a quick tour of Serene with the prince of his favorite sites, and now you guys are all on board. You're about to take off. Neris is in top deck, just chilling. He knows where his room is. You're also boarded on the ship. You can choose to be on the top deck or the bottom. You know where your room is. And Virtue just essentially finished greeting the captain with the prince and his cousin and his bodyguard. And the ship is just about ready to take off.
Okay. I think I'll also be on the top deck then.
Great. And you'll notice the entire crew, though mismatched, they all seem to be color coordinated. They all have the patch essentially identifying them as Nords, at least the uniform. And you are all getting ready to set sail. And last but not least,
Neris would be curious. Does he know where Virtue is at this point? Because he's kind of expected to run into Virtue at some point. So.
Well, you're on the ship, and I mean, this is a massive ship. Like,
That is
think half the size of a Titanic. These are like massive. These things essentially are made to take, and it's essentially massive galleons, which are meant to take scores of supplies, people, and also bring some people back along with mainly just supplies back from their trading. So you could spend a good, few, like maybe an hour or so just looking through the ship in its entirety and probably not hit every room, but hit most of them.
fair enough.
But for the most part, like I said, you guys are on the top deck, and the bottom deck is where you guys are living, and the other ones are supposed to just, off limits and just restricted to the crew for operating the ship and whatnot. You guys know where the mess is, which is essentially one floor down, which is only open during their meals. And think like the top deck, where you guys can get a full view of everything, is essentially the size of a football field.
Yeah, that's
Three
pretty huge.
Wow.
massive sails.
Ow.
These ships are
That
big.
is big.
The Norts have mastered the seas, and they have made ships. They've got smaller ones, like Pirates of the Caribbean sized ones, but that's just their exploratory ships.
Mhm.
They're not those aren't those ships they do for passengers and stuff for like this kind of voyage.
Okay. Jaws on the floor, looking up at the sails, looking back at the land, looking at the water. This is real. This is happening. Just in awe.
It is, and I unfortunately rolled for Constantine, and he does not have his sea legs, so he's excusing himself very abruptly, essentially letting you know that ask if you need anything, and he said he got you a room that's essentially at the end of the hall where the first floor is down, close to his, and he just lets you know to ask for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually he's halfway leaning on his cousin Desarte, trying not to like fall over, and it looks like he's turning a little pale green. Poor boy rolled a 5 on his con check to see how well he did with his sea legs.
Does not have good sea legs.
No, and his constitution was not great to begin with. This guy is a prince, and he was never really trained in anything except basic knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Also, and if you get into this, there's a story behind that with his mother and how essentially she raised him to be the. Well, we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, no, he's going downstairs, and essentially Kurt is just going to follow them, just letting you know. Any trouble happens, just call for me and I'll help you out.
Mm-hmm.
But he does look at the dagger and says,
And
I guess you know how to defend yourself too. But if you need any pointers, let me know. And the three of them will disappear
Will do.
down there's the deck.
okay,
All right.
so she'll watch them
You-
go. A little wary.
Are we still at port, or are we off to sea already?
You guys are about to set sail, essentially. Everything's
Okay.
getting ready. So you know you'll start moving soon. And most of the essentially everyone else, there are a couple people sprinkled around here on top deck. Most of them are just bottom and are just trying to settle themselves on. Some people you saw may have not had the best experience on boats. Some of them used to it completely. And both of you, well, no, all three of you technically would be on the top deck, I think. And the ship is literally about to start setting off. What would you like to do?
Okay. Cue the ending music from Pocahontas, where the music just swells and they're casting off and going out to sea. That's what's going through my brain.
I was gonna say Wind Waker style, waving off to the outset island as you're starting your journey. But that is also
Ah.
No, everybody's got their preference. Personally, I enjoyed a good. I don't even remember what it's called. It was from Pirates of the Caribbean. Had some really good scores for ships. But yeah, no, you guys you're literally taking off from port. Some people are waving at other people goodbye. Some are throwing things, that traditional wasting of booze by throwing it against the ship, which some people just shake their heads at, not knowing why they do that, not drink it. But you guys are making your way to sea,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
you are facing the horizon. What would you like to do?
I'm sorry. Just as we're casting off, Virtue's gonna run to what is the front of the boat,
Ow.
or whichever way we're leaving, and just looking out to the mainland, and with a tear in her eye, going to whisper goodbye.
And from the corner of your eye, you'll see someone else who looks like they're also leaning against the edge of the ship. Seem to be wearing that familiar outfit, black hat. But the second you blink and he's gone out of your periphery.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll earn a gulp and a bit of a retreat.
Well, you just going back into the middle of the deck, or are you trying to go back downstairs towards your rooms?
I suppose just kind of retreating back to the middle of the deck. Kind of wandering, not really going anywhere particular, just away from that sight that she just glimpsed.
All right. Anyone else? Are you just you're essentially all there? And let's throw me some quick perception check. Let's see if anybody finds each other. If not, they might just avoid. You guys might do that perfect running into each other but looking the opposite way while you pass.
That tracks. I feel like the perception you said.
Yes.
Yep.
19.
Oh my gosh. 22.
21.
You guys, and it looks like you guys are about to be looking the exact opposite way of each other while you're walking towards the center of the deck until you immediately turn around and Spider-Man, meaning triple finger point each of you, as you all recognize you found each other on the ship as you've taken off. One of you probably not as happy as the other, while the other two are saying like, "Hey, you made it!
You made it!
Yeah. Oh my goodness, you made it.
Oh no.
And you made it too. Right. Are you alright this morning? I hope the drink didn't go to your head too much.
I'm fine. Thanks for your concern.
You're not too out of it, I take it, because I don't think that's necessarily the best start to this journey, hungover. But I can't exactly blame you either.
Some might argue with you on that, but no, I'm fine.
Sure. Fair enough.
It seems you two made it on the ship. Well,
Yes, indeed. And with
Were we-
royal company nonetheless.
royal company?
I thought you had mentioned it last night.
No, I guess I didn't mention it to our new friend here, Roya. Prince Constantine. It's a bit of a long story, but he invited me to come along with him as a guest on this journey.
Tyler, would I know about
He,
Constantine? Is this
You would
information
know
I
of
already know?
His family specifically is the current ruling family of the course in essentially in the course of the congregation. as the many princes and families essentially vie for power. His is currently set at the top. He is the second son of the current ruling monarch, his first having died tragically a few years back.
Roya curses underneath her breath. This is just
Is something wrong?
my luck.
Having
I'm
some
sorry?
second thoughts of something?
She will look towards where the ship is now leaving. I think it's a little too late to have second thoughts now, but
Never too late for second
You just-
thoughts.
You're thinking in your head, you could probably swim.
if I jump far enough, I can just swim the rest. It should be fine. I'll get the next
If I wanted to go back, like it's been a roughly about an hour, you can still see
Yeah,
the mainland.
that's all
the
that matters.
speck
Yeah.
in the
It's not like it's
distance.
that hard to swim that far. Oh my god, no, I'm so screwed. I think Roy's actually having
If
these
there's
thoughts out loud.
Yeah, more or less,
If
it's
there's
not so much
bad
the
blood
prince;
between you.
it's who you know his bodyguard
I know.
is.
Oh, I see. Very juicy.
Very juicy indeed.
So you said that you were
But-
traveling with him?
But Virtue will look at Roya a bit concerned. If there's bad blood between you, I do seem to have his ear and his hand. I can help you if there's some unpleasant situation you find
No.
yourself in.
Please, just whatever you do, don't mention me in his presence.
May I ask why?
All right.
You can ask.
You're just gonna say no, I bet.
Smart lad. But the less
Alright.
he knows about me, the better.
And why shouldn't we tell him about you? In that case.
Making that kind of comment, Virtue's just gonna make that no, like that cutting across the throat no motion.
He
Don't
very much
She steps slightly behind
antagonize her.
Roya and just like she's trying her best to just say no behind her, like no sound.
he's very
You want
much
them-
acting as smugly as possible.
You want them to be friends so badly, and they're just not cooperating.
I'm not.
No
It's
friends.
great.
Again, he is saying that with a
And-
smirk. He's being smug.
He now believes he has dirt on you, Roya. What are you gonna do?
There's
Just
gonna
because he
be
believes
a
he is.
moment of like surprise, almost as if like the audacity of this man.
Yeah.
Also, she's an elf. She could be way older than you. That's why she calls you boy.
I mean, half elf. Difference isn't.
Really established her age yet.
True, and even half elf. You never know.
You never know.
Never know. Could go either way.
Her, and she'll point to Virtue. It may be too late, but you.
What did I do?
You. If I go down, I take you down with me.
Do you think that you have on her?
Why? And Virtue's and when you say that,
I mean,
that's
I
when Virtue's face just flushes, and
I
It's almost as if you can see the veins in her neck quicken. Just the pulse.
Want to establish out of character. I know that there's stuff, but I don't know that she knows that you know. It's been a day. Sorry.
No, I followed along. I guess you'll have to wait to see if she does know.
You don't know if this is a bluff or not, and she could literally mean I'll just kill her before I get arrested.
I mean,
You
there
honestly
is
don't
that.
know. You could just say, you know what, I'll go on a killing spree. Do you really want to turn this character into a part of the ship?
It's fine. I don't think we have any reason to be at odds with each other.
Agreed. Do you suppose we can just start again as new acquaintances? I wouldn't like to see any animosity between us, especially given that we are going to be spending quite some time on this vessel.
Just the three of us, 100 strangers, and ocean all around. That was out of character.
Well, it sounded in character, honestly.
That seemed very fitting for Neris.
You know what? It was in character.
Yay!
Fine. To new starts. My name is Roya. Do not tell anyone about me.
All right, well, if the topic comes up, should we get a different name for you, perhaps?
Just say you never got my name.
Right.
Never got your name. All right.
That's good to know, I suppose.
Just a quick thing. Nothing stops you from making a new identity as you're about to go to an island very recently, developing.
There was a whole reason I was going to this island. That's a lot of work. A lot of things I have to remember.
But you don't even have to say anything other than that's just not my name anymore, and wear your hair on a different side. Just the bangs on one side, wear it on the other, and just say, "No, I'm not the person that I look exactly like."
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Forget that side part, girl. We're all about these center parts now.
I mean,
cut your hair
thoughts of
short.
the new identity are now running through her head. Absolutely. She still needs some time to establish and figure out what she's gonna do.
Got some tips? Maybe I can help with that.
No.
Understandable.
Well then, let there be no more animosity. We apparently are privy to information that you'd rather share, and I think that would be a good policy for all of us while we are here. And she'll look at Roya in the eye, to just hoping that she doesn't see any smugness that would indicate that she has any dirt on her. I don't know.
Can make
would that be an insight then?
Insight check to see if she is looking at you smug with dirt on you. And Roya, you can if you choose to make a deception check.
Sure thing.
Of course, that's the one I roll low on. That's a 10.
Can I give I feel like maybe this is a help to action, because I'm also curious on whether she actually has any dirt. So I don't know if this would be the help action or I'd roll on my own, but
you'd be rolling on your own for this one.
Okay. Because again, I don't know if she actually has anything. Oh, hey, a 20 for you. I got, let's see, insight. 18.
Oh
So pretty
my gosh.
close. Oh,
Pretty close.
oh my gosh, what Heidi?
She got a natural 20.
Yeah. Yeah, oh my gosh, indeed.
I got a 10.
Both of you,
I
as
don't
far
know
as you
a
know,
thing.
no. From what you can tell, you don't know if she's lying.
Cannot tell.
You
Oof.
can't tell if she's lying or not. So the odds of her having something, it's not impossible. You don't know. She could have something on you. And as for you, you're looking at her and just looking for the classic telltale signs of someone who's bullshitting. And from what you can tell,
Mm-hmm.
no, she's not lying. You think, shit, she might know something. You don't know what. You don't know if it's something you know. Maybe it's something that she hasn't told you either. But
Mm-hmm.
she definitely looks like she's got something.
Okay, yeah. All right, we're just gonna keep a panic pack bottle on the side, ready to go at any second now. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got this sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you
Well
don't
then,
mind,
I think I will. No, not at all.
and she will start trying to get as far away from Virtue in particular as possible.
Oh. It seems to
Does
be
what
going
as
well.
possible?
As far away from Virtue as possible.
Okay. And Virtue is going to sort of shuffle towards the stairs to the lower deck, and she's just gonna say to Neris, "Well, I'll go find my room now. I'll find you later."
I
Can I
guess
do
that.
an accent other than Aisling's voice, but it's just not as Aisling's voice.
Guess we'll meet up sometime later. But yeah, I should probably go and search myself for my own room. Get things sorted out. We'll have plenty of time. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And she will scuttle downstairs.
All right. Neris will also go and search for his room.
I need a drink.
Raya, you can ask around, and you will know that there's in the mess hall. There's none officially, but officially there is like a unspoken speakeasy bar.
Beeline there.
All right. And for the next bit of things, unless there's something you specifically want to do, that we'll be skipping our 6 months after
Lots of time.
a quick break. But yeah,
Um,
you've essentially got 6 months to decide how you're going to interact because you are in a ship. It's massive, don't get me wrong. And there are definitely people here you might be able to come in and have a conversation with. But that'll be on you. You can choose to just be in a room, eat, sleep. They offer fishing because you're literally in the ocean. But for the most part, you seem to avoid almost every storm that's not like too bad on the sea. And you're making good time as far as you've been told. But at this point, I'm going to just pop out. Let's grab a quick 10 minutes before we jump back into this.
Yeah, break time.
okay.
Break time, right?
All right.
See you guys back here in
Alright.
10 minutes, okay?
Good to know.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Break. You guys' room's pretty standard. Bed, small table with a chair, no nightlight. Not very big, but it's got your stuff and a window to look out at the pretty nice view. Roughly,
Nice.
it's actually 10 by 12. It's actually a pretty decent space.
Very
Your
nice.
bed, trunk, chair, and whatnot, and decorate as you'd like. You'll know that they'll be serving the next meal in roughly 2 hours. There's a curfew, and you know that they do have a few things to do while on the ship, as they can't have this many people on the ship without something to do. So there's a small little area for certain, essentially just a nice little living space. Few little places off for places to drink, smoke. That's right next to the mess hall. And you are free to explore the ship as you wish. Who would like to go first? Or, you guys could roll me each a d20 to see who does what first.
Okay.
Is
So is
a
my room the same as Neris and Roya's?
When you step into yours, you'll notice it's actually a little bigger, a
Oh.
little bit nicer.
Oh.
It's roughly double the size. Has a small couch.
Okay. Oh wow.
And it seems to have a separate room.
Ooh. A separate room?
Yep.
Like
Go
what
in
kind
and
of
check
room?
out.
Is it a dressing room or?
That seems to be a small dressing room / bathing restroom.
Ooh.
So, well, theirs seems to be the basic one with more or less what you'd need, just compact. Yours is just a bit more spacious.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's essentially at the end of the very long hallway, it seems to be like that these last 10 are specifically reserved for those who could pay for it. For a few extra
Oh my.
extremities.
upgrade to first class. It's not really upgrade.
More or less.
Dang. Okay. And does it have any doors that connect to any adjacent rooms or anything? Just curious.
Not that you've noticed, just those two. And that's
Okay.
really about it.
Cool. Oh, cool.
All right, so everybody want to roll me that d20 and let me know what you get?
I got a 9.
7.
9, 7. I mean, a 7 kind of doesn't beat a 9, so.
So, I guess yeah, she wanted to go and do somebody else first because she's busy. So I guess does that mean I'm going then?
Yep.
I guess
I think so.
So is this kind of just like the first day, or are we just kind of generalizing what we're doing over the course of the
This is the first day.
Okay.
This is the first day.
Okay.
I think he probably would have wanted to, meet up with everybody, but we didn't exactly establish where we would meet up. So he's kind of starting with exploring the ship. I think eventually he'll settle down and decide to stop in the kind of living it's not really living room, but it's like just the bar amenities area that you kind of talked about.
All right.
So he'll hang out in there, and he's gonna get one of his books, and he's gonna set up shop and read while also maybe doing a bit of people watching, because I'm sure there is uh, interesting characters that we're going to spend quite a bit of time with, both on and before and after this mission, actually. Or trip, I should say, not mission.
Yeah, this is the next voyage. Not expedition, just a voyage. But yeah, no. You get a bit of reading done, and you look, and currently there's just maybe a small hand group of people. Some you recognize, others a bit shadier. Small cloaked, hooded individuals that are one corner of the room, and about two others, only small groups. One of them made up seems to be a dwarf, elf, and a human, if you had to guess from this distance. The second one, you can't really see any details. They're all fully hooded. Faces, gloves, face masks. You're not sure exactly what they might be, but they seem to be minding themselves. All seem to be having a drink. Last one, not entirely sure what they could be. I'm thinking maybe some sort of tiefling, as you can see that there are massive horns coming out of their head. A very long uh, white hair goes down to about their shoulders. Also wearing a simple jacket over a vest. But this is their back to you. This is a very large individual.
Okay.
Sitting on the other side of them are two other very large individuals. One of them you can clearly see a Goliath, a very large jagged scar across their face. The other one is currently seems to be eating something out of a bowl. Can't really see their face, but you can see they're very enthusiastic about finishing this food. All of them are wearing pretty basic clothing that seem to be more of the function and necessity than anything too coordinated or fashionable.
Interesting. So pretty practical garments.
More practical than anything trying to be showing off or, establish themselves as part of a faction or group or anything.
Yeah. Are they like chatting with each other, or are they just kind of all just at the same table minding their own business?
Some seem to be chatting, others just seem like they're just enjoying a meal. The ones with the hoods, it doesn't look like they're talking at all. Well, at least you can't hear anything from where you are, so you have no idea because they're, like I said, face is fully covered. You can barely see their eyes like from in their hoods. Like these guys would be screaming like suspicious possible cult members, or they don't want people to see their faces. You can't really say. Almost looking like Organization 13 over there.
Yeah. Nothing suspicious going on here.
I mean, with this, this voyage, who knows? But there are your groups for the tavern as of right now.
All right. Well, he'll, pay mind to each of them and then kind of mind his own business. I don't think he's going to go out and bug any of them at the moment unless they're doing anything. They start doing some weird stuff. Stuff that catches his attention, I guess.
Not for the most part. Over to Virtue.
I think that would be, yeah.
Right. Unless there's anything else
Okay.
you'd like to do.
Is there anything you wanted to do?
Uh,
Yes.
Well, I thought we were switching to Virtue.
No, yeah, we were just double checking this. Nothing else you wanted to do.
No. He's
Okay, good to go.
if he stays for long enough,
Oh.
he might get a drink. But yeah, sorry.
Okay, Virtue.
Okay. All right. So, Virtue, I think we'll take a minute to take in the lovely furnishings of the room. In the privacy of the room, she would be quite giddy and excited, she would let herself relish these beautiful things. And would there be a mirror in the room? I'd assume so.
Yes.
Okay. And as she's twirling around, looking at this beautiful room, then she would catch a glimpse of herself in the mirror and pause and examine her plain Jane self. Just this farm girl that she's always known, wearing a decent dress, but also her father's hat, and realize just how out of place she is here. And kind of wilt as she realizes and remembers the solemn reason why she's here in the first place. And she'll look away and head for the door, feeling kind of a stranger, like a what's that term?
Like an out of
imposter
body
syndrome, kind of feeling
experience,
something
or
like that. Just feeling like an imposter in this environment, and
Imposter
like an
syndrome?
imposter in her own body. Yeah, like she feels out of place, and like she's being dishonest everywhere, and even with herself.
all right.
And before
Yeah.
walking out of the room, she'll call behind her shoulder and ask, "Stranger, are you there?"
You'll have no response.
All right. I guess I truly am alone right now. And then she'll head towards the door. And I suppose start wandering about the ship.
Right.
Mostly
What are you
hanging out
doing?
on the top deck again. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Just, I wanted to see where you were going to go. Just the top deck?
Oh, yeah, so she's, top deck, just watching the knots? Is that who these guys are?
The North.
Or
Yep.
the Nords? Nords, okay. Yeah, watch them work. As she's never seen a sailing ship before. This is quite a thing to behold, and especially at this scale. So just watching them, looking out at the water, keeping an eye out for Constantine or Desarde or Kurt should they walk by, but mostly just kind of reflecting and hanging out.
Awesome. Just a quick thing. Your passive, you said, was 12, right?
Let me check here. Passive is passive perception.
Yes.
14 actually.
Oh. Okay, then, yeah, that's definitely enough. You'll notice that there's a fishing line. It's not too out of the ordinary, except it's not coming from someone off the side of the deck. It's coming from something farther up.
Oh.
And, well, you
Does
can't
there
really
appear
get
to
a
be a
good
bite
picture
on
from
that
where you
line?
are. You see that a few... There's a what?
I'm sorry. I was just asking if did there appear to be a bite on the line yet? Like, was anything pulling?
Not not that you could see, though you look from where the line's actually. It's no one on the deck doing this. Someone, as you look up, it looks like someone from the crow's nest on the center mast is the one doing the fishing. Can't really see who it is from down here. There's a few, like maybe it'd be about 60 feet in the air.
Uh-huh.
Not sure who it is, but for the most part, it doesn't seem like any bites. But just found that just a little odd because there are people on the side of the deck who are fishing. Some of the crew might seem to be showing
Mm-hmm.
some people the ways to pass the time here is trying out this for the first time. Other people just looking around, and you've actually noticed the one at the very edge on the other side. It's actually setting up
Mm-hmm.
a tripod, a very large um, canvas, and what you think are some odd bit of supplies. You had to guess, probably trying to paint something.
So there's an artist on board somewhere.
Possibly. You see someone setting something up, some people learning to fish, and some weirdo who's trying to fish from the most inconvenient spot on the ship.
Okay. I suppose first I'll call up to the person at the crow's nest, see if they respond at all. And she would just call up, "Hello! Any luck up there? Or from up there?"
You're gonna have to ask how hard. This is 60 feet away, straight up into the air, on an active ship. How loud is this?
Um, she's not trying to like draw too much attention, but she's trying to call fairly loud. I mean, she's looking to see if she can get the attention of this person.
Yeah. Give me a. Give me a quick persuasion check. I'm assuming your voice is loud
Persuasion.
enough to get there if
Okay.
you want to do so. Let's see if you reach this individual.
That's a 10.
Right? And you don't get a response, but you see the line go up, and it does seem to be missing its bait. And after it disappears up into the crow's nest, you see it again being tossed down with what looks to be a piece of a fish.
Ah. Then seeing that, she'll smile up and give a nod. And then I suppose move on to check out this artist person.
All right, you're heading over to where the person's setting up the, if you assume, are painting supplies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, curious about that.
Alrighty then. Making your way over, and this seems to be a lean. You're thinking maybe you wouldn't be entirely sure, but possibly a dwarf. Seems to be setting things up, but he hasn't actually tried to begin anything.
Okay. Then she'll lean towards the man. "Excuse me. Uh, I'm sorry to intrude, but I noticed you, and what are you doing? Are you going to paint something, sir?"
And this dwarf just quickly just turns around, just sees you, and eyes you up a bit. Oh, it's me you're talking to. Uh, no, these aren't mine. I'm just setting them up for someone.
Oh, are you a assistant then? Are these artist things?
No, this is just a favor.
Just a favor. Okay.
Just a favor.
Um. Uh, well, who exactly is this favor for? May I ask?
One of the passengers asked me to help him bring his supplies up. He's actually coming up the stairs with the rest of them. This bastard needs twice this much. And you'll see now coming out of the stairway holding a few more supplies is a fairly large and a little imposing, roughly going on 8 feet tall. As he started hearing these loud creaking sounds from the wooden planks as he just slowly just kept going. It's very much that Jurassic Park thump on the wooden floor every few steps. And you see a massive Goliath, essentially holding up a few, essentially a small 2 to 3 small crates in his arms. And he's just coming up the stairs. Bit odd because he's essentially just wearing a what essentially would be very nice dress pants, very nice shoes, no shirts, just the straps over his belt. Like think like Larry King kind of overall straps. Or no, it would be suspenders. Yeah, no shirt, but he does have a really nice bowler hat on his head.
All right. Then I suppose if we've been talking about this guy, then she'll turn to him, assuming that he is the artist, and give a little smile. I didn't mean to keep your assistant here, sir.
And the Goliath just eyes the small dwarf. You saying you work for me now? But you shut the fuck up. I don't work for you. And he just starts walking away and says, I'll see you down at the bar when you're finished with this shit.
I didn't mean that at all,
and the Goliath
sir.
just chuckles.
He said indeed that he was doing you a favor. It was my fault, the way I worded that.
And he starts chuckling. Don't worry about that. I give him shit every now and then. It's just the way it goes. But is there something I can help you with, seeing as you've, come to chat?
Well, nothing specifically. I was just curious work, but that is assuming you are an artist. Are you?
I don't really think I'd call myself that. I'm only doing this just... It became a hobby over time.
What inspired you?
A few of the old friends said I needed something to do that's not breaking things in half, or setting them on fire, chilling them. Great, Matt. Effectively just stop causing property damage, but this is more or less what I settled on.
Well, that's sweet, at least. Um, is there any particular thing you like to paint, sir?
Whatever's around, whatever's in the head. Mm, occasionally, whatever people think passes for art nowadays, which can't exactly say I know anything about that.
Hmm. And how long have you been doing this for?
I've been working my hand at this. And he sets down the crates, which don't seem to be too heavy, just had different supplies, uh, counting on his fingers. Let's just round it up and say 6 years.
Hmm. And does anyone... Do you make any money with your paintings?
Uh, Not that I recall, but I've never really tried to charge anybody for them.
Well, then I'd be interested in seeing some of them. If it's not inconvenient at least, or maybe I can just come back in a little while later and see what you have painted.
If you'd like. Sorry to say I didn't have anything with me. I just brought the supplies. Nothing particularly done. Uh, Give me a few hours. Maybe I have something for you. Well, nice. Sometimes I'll spend days looking at this canvas and not draw a damn thing.
Well, on a ship like this, and with a journey to quite an unknown place, surely inspiration will get you somewhere.
One can only hope.
Well, then I'll leave it to you, sir. And I'm sorry. What's your name?
Terribly sorry. Wearing any manners. Motro. Zemo.
Moltro. Well then, Moltro, I wish you a good day. I look forward to seeing some progress. I'll hold you to it then. And she tries to give one of those sort of people pleaser smiles, and walks on.
Gives you a wave and then just essentially starts opening up the crates to set up a few small jars and things. All right. Are you making your way lower deck or just going somewhere else on the deck?
I suppose I'll go lower deck, wherever that tavern was, maybe in that direction.
All right. You'll know where the mess hall is, and essentially up on the side of it, where the actual little mess hall and little splash bar is. You walk in, and you will see someone you recognize, along with the three other groups I mentioned before. Currently, one of them, the group with the large horned individual, the man still face inside of a plate, and the other seeming Goliath man with a scar across his face. They seem to be having an additional dwarf sitting at their table, now enjoying a nice pint.
Okay.
And occasionally berating the individual put next to him to stop and breathe before he suffocates from his food.
Okay. Well then, and I assume that familiar face that I'm seeing is Neris.
It is. He is there,
Okay,
seems to be
well then
doing his own thing for me, but occasionally
He's there and he even has a face.
Okay,
he's
well,
doing his
I'll
thing.
go. Then I suppose I'll go wave at him. And
Do I notice her?
You do, with your perception and the fact that she just kind of walks in, not trying to be subtle or anything or stealthy. You'll notice when people walk in. You notice the dwarf walked in a bit earlier before her, went to grab a drink and sat down at the table with the other Goliath, the horned figure, and the guy who seems to be really enjoying whatever it is he's eating. He's going on his third bowl.
Could I make a check to see what he is eating? Because I'm curious now. Third bowl.
better be the
You
best darn
can.
tater soup you ever did have.
You can go ahead.
Let's see. I assume perception. Well, that's an unanswered question. That's an 8.
Oh, you don't know because you're not entirely sure if he's slurping, eating it while he's going through, or if it's just a soup that he's just downing on his own. You honestly can't tell. But you know that he really likes it because he's going to town on whatever it is.
Beginning to bug Neris because it's just like an unanswered question. That guy's really enjoying that.
Definitely.
But he'll wave at Virtue, and I don't know if she's coming over. If she waits a moment, he'll kind of get up to her. If she comes over, he'll wait there.
Yep. She'll scuttle on over, seeing you've already got a place.
How's it going, I guess?
It's going all right. I met a very nice gentleman. A large gentleman. Why am I doing this Irish accent? Okay, whatever.
Irish.
Yeah, I've been trying to do something like a Yorkshire accent, but it's just not working.
It's easier to slip into the ones you know, which is hard because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy
to he's a Goliath actually, and a very nice fellow. Though intimidating for sure. Someone was fishing from the crow's nest. I don't know why someone would want to fish from all the way up there. Well, I saw a fish. So I assume it was working somehow.
That's interesting. Good for him, though, if he managed to catch a fish all the way up there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're gonna have
our dear friend. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You were saying sorry.
Oh, well, aside from our comrade Roya, you met anyone else interesting?
Been observing the people here. Not too much to report. And I just kind of eye the guy that's eating his food and really, really enjoying it. Not too much to report at the moment. Gonna have a lot of time with these people, with each other. Are you doing all right? You said that you had spoken with Constantine. How is that all going?
Said that what? I'm sorry, that broke up.
I was asking about Constantine, how that's all going.
Oh, well, I haven't visited him yet. I figured it was best to let him try to gain his sea legs. I found my room, and it is certainly one of the grandest things I have ever been in.
Is it?
He's certainly...
Nice and large, I bet.
He certainly spares no expense, I will say that.
Well, I'm glad that he's treating you, it seems like.
But it doesn't feel right.
What's that?
And you know why. It doesn't feel right. For me, and she really hushes her voice down to a whisper. It's just not right for me to be here living in the lap of luxury and canoodling with people that are above me in every way when you know what I've done. It's hard to move on, and I find myself wanting to enjoy these things, but then I feel as though I shouldn't, because I shouldn't.
Kind of pauses. I'm sorry.
I feel like a stone on a string being swung back and forth. That's all I can say.
It hasn't been too long, and I think you're still definitely getting used to everything. It's Virtue, I don't want you to think it's a bad thing to enjoy your life. And I'm not entirely certain of all the details of what went down, but he kind of pauses for a moment, looks around. Roy isn't listening in, I assume. But he is, making sure that Roy is not listening in.
Roy is always listening in.
Roya has spies everywhere.
There's a crow sitting eerily on the table next to us.
You don't notice, but there's a small little, insect, or I don't know, her familiar, whatever it is, just underneath the table listening and writing things down in a tiny journal.
Duke just races under the table and just that's it.
And as soon as you do, it pops out of existence again. It was her animal the entire time.
Dun, dun, dun.
Burning your reserves with 10 gold at a time.
Bum, bum.
But Virtue, I don't want you to think that you shouldn't enjoy. You saved him from everything it sounds like that you've told me. And he's grateful. I don't think you need to do better, maybe. That is a decision that you have to make. But you don't have to keep on living in the mistakes that you've made.
It's easier said than done. For sure. I'm sorry, I shouldn't burden you with these things, Neris.
It's quite alright. This is the sort of thing
it's
that
just never far from my mind.
We spoke of this, the first night we met. Or, actually, I don't remember offhand if it was the first night or if it was after that, but I hope that you are feeling comfortable talking to me with this sort of thing. But yeah, it's hard to not feel this way. I understand what you mean by that. You can't help but feel this way.
Right.
I just hope that, reminders like this might help. Let's do something. Take your mind off of this, maybe. Got a lot of time, and I'm sure there's things we can do to keep busy and keep entertained.
What do you have in mind?
Well, I don't know all the facilities that this ship is equipped with, but if this wonderful areas anything to go off of. It seems like they have the room for things. So I was thinking, let's explore the place and see what amenities it has, and maybe make a decision then. If nothing else,
Well, that sounds like a decent use of our time.
perhaps, if nothing else, perhaps a game of cards. But let's see what we have to work with.
All right. And exploring we shall go.
Explore the ship, see what stuff there is. If there's any like like a pool table. I don't know. I don't think that there's going to be like, oh, there's a basketball court on this ship.
I mean, the Titanic had a full swimming pool, and a gym, and a barbershop, and like 5 different cafes. So anything can exist on a ship.
It's this big, yeah. So I think we're gonna probably, given the size of the ship, I assume probably like a decent portion of the rest of the day probably goes into looking over, searching the ship. Hello.
I assume so too. Hello, Siler? Hey, there you are.
Yes. So you're just going to spend... Okay, you'll be spending the rest of the
We're
day
just
searching the ship?
exploring it.
I think that's... I
Mhm.
mean, if we find something catches our attention, definitely gonna...
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, that's all you
Maybe
can spend your
stopping
day.
back by the artist.
Definitely put that on the list. Roy, is there anything you'd like to do before these two go on their little expedition?
I think for the first day and probably the rest of the days on the ship, she is going to be very, very familiar with the tavern.
Alrighty.
So maybe we actually would have seen her then already. Like we ran it, we put 10.
I mean, you never went to check what any of the other people were doing. You didn't know who those hooded figures were. She could have just been there.
Yeah, she was just one of the hooded
Well, we've
figures.
got months to figure it out.
I mean, she will definitely be wearing her hood a lot more now that she knows who's on this ship.
And that was just the people who were there for this point of the day. There's also the rest of the day and the fact that there are other mess halls. This isn't it's not the only one.
Many mess halls.
Ooh, bar crawl on a ship. Let's
Day
go.
ship.
Find the nicest mess hall. Find the nicest tavern.
I mean, that's the thing. You guys just went to the one that they showed you immediately, which seemed to be shared by the crew. But you know for a fact that there are a few people on the ship that are a little higher in class, but you saw none of them there, or when food was being made.
Yep.
So who knows where they go.
They've got their own nice tavern, bar, eatery area.
Speakeasy, and I'm
Maybe.
off. But yeah, that's my plans for this boat ride.
All right. Anyone you're going to try and interact with, or are you just keeping to yourself?
I think for the most part she won't be proactive in meeting other people, but if she sees groups start playing any sort of games, she might join in.
All right. Well, hey, as it happens, a game seems to be starting up between a group of hooded individuals and a very large Goliath. And what you assumed was a Goliath until you noticed it was actually a half-orc who just finished his 5th plate of an unknown food. Seemed to be very content. A dwarf, and what you can now see is a very large, you're thinking Minotaur until you realize that she has she's a little bigger. You could have thought, you're not sure honestly if it's a tiefling or something new because the things are there, but there's no color to her skin. It's normal. And she's also forearms are furred, along with the lower half of the pants, which seem to extend into hooves.
Okay.
Which is a little comedic, seeing as 3 of the largest people you've seen on this ship, and then a dwarf. That seem to have pushed about 3 tables together and are starting a round of you're unsure of a card game, undescript card game.
It's fine. I'm a quick learner. Especially the more drinks I have in me. Let's go. She will walk over to
Alright.
where they're setting up and just ask for a seat.
They pull one up, and they essentially say that they're starting at a few silver for this round before they start adding up the pot and ordering more drinks. Apparently, the tender knows to just keep them coming.
A warm-up round. Alright, count me in. And she'll fish out however many silvers.
It's just a 5 silver for each, with a current pot of. Yeah, we're going on 40 silver, 45 silver.
Okay. Yep, throwing in 5 silver.
Alright then. And this, we'll just make it a quick one, just a quick D. Just a D20 to make it quick.
What?
Terrible luck.
I don't know the game yet. I need to get familiar with the rules. It's
How did you draw Snake Eyes?
It's actually twin aces, and this game is Snake Eyes.
Oh no.
That-
And you see that one. So one of the hooded figures is the one who won. And as he goes and collects his winnings, you see that the others are reluctant, but essentially getting into this okay, now someone has a big pile and someone else is going to have to take it. So they get ready and they're starting up the next round. Still the same pot, but it's essentially just being anteed up for a while. And it begins again.
Perfect. Another 5
You want
silver.
to play this one?
Yeah. Another
Yep.
5 silver, but this time she pulls out another silver coin and is just rolling it over her fingers as she plays. Better roll.
Alrighty then.
18.
15?
18.
18, alright. And as everyone throws down theirs, you see the hooded figures all essentially fold in, realizing nothing good on their side. And for the half-orc and the Goliath, they both seem to out, and it's now between you, the unknown possible Minotaur Tiefling hybrid, you're not entirely sure. And as you each reveal your cards, the dwarf has the smuggest grin as he realizes he just beat the unknown until he looks at yours and you just beat him out. And you take 45 silver.
Nice.
I told you, all I needed was a warm-up round.
Yep.
So we'd
Everyone
mark
essentially
it
gives a
there,
quick
then-
cheers for your victory.
Yeah.
And then they just essentially, this part's when they ante up, and the next, every other round just going to be a single gold for essentially the buy-in. But this will be more or less how it goes for essentially the rest of the day for these guys.
That's how she's spending her day.
Alright. But you are told that the dwarf, the Minotaur, and I'm just going to say Minotaur now because it's getting harder to just say half-breed hybrid
Mhm.
Minotaur tiefling. And you're essentially telling them that there's a specific room that they've asked for, just because apparently one of them knows someone, that's essentially just called the rec room.
Oh,
And he'll ask you, what do you think you do in there?
It's a room where we destroy things. I'm sorry.
Where we wreck it all.
Yeah.
That's why we call it the rec room. We don't play games, we wreck
We
our
destroy.
lives and maybe our livers too.
I assume with the name such as the rec room, nothing good.
I mean, depends. Do you think beating the shit out of each other for the shits and giggles is good?
Not if you're the one getting the shit beat out of you.
Here, here, Dwarf says to that. And he essentially explains that that is a place where they both fight, break things, and test out new ways of fighting if they so choose. It was essentially an archery range that they just makeshifted into just a place to just break things, drink, and occasionally get into brawls.
Her eyes spark a little bit when she hears archery range.
Yep. And this is the part where you know you gotta be good to be in here because there is no people get out of the way. You have to make the shot across the room with the targets. There are likely to be half a dozen idiots in the middle of there doing their own thing, not gonna move. So let's see how good you are.
That does not seem like the best idea for their own safety, but that's on them.
Listen, challenge accepted.
No one says they're not gonna fire back. No one says that they're not gonna be so drunk that they won't even feel it.
People die in the rec room.
It's been a while since I've used my bow. And she
All
looks
right.
longingly
Well,
up
after a
at
few
you.
more rounds, and they will invite you to the rec room.
Yes.
So you can have fun practicing both archery, your choice of getting into a fight, or just aiming at some random targets, bullseyes, and what have you. And if you get anything below a 9, you hit someone else.
Fair. Are you gonna want me to roll for this
All
now,
right.
or?
I mean, how many shots do you think you take in there? How you drink? How you gonna fill up a quiver and use it all, or?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? If you can, just roll me 5 d20s and see what happens. Anything like 9 or lower may have hit a few people.
Oh,
But
I
this is a
have
rec room, it didn't matter.
an 8 for an attack DC anyway, so.
No, I mean on the die. If it's
Okay,
anything,
okay.
if the actual die is a 9 or lower.
Let's see. Rolling 5 of them. Okay, I hit 2 people.
Alrighty then.
It was close, an 8 and a 7.
One of them, uh, close enough. No one says you weren't aiming for him. But yeah, no. There seems to be a dragonborn with what looks like weird kind of dreadlock hair, a little weird. White scales and leather armor, and he immediately looks at you with the bow and the arrow that's now sticking out of his shoulder. And he immediately gives you the biggest, toothiest smile as he just grabs the thing out of it. As you see, he was currently in a fight with someone, and he now uses that as an improvised weapon, giving you a bloody thumbs up and thanks.
You're welcome.
But yeah, that is how you spend the rest of the day.
Yep.
Or however much time you'd like. Back with our other little group. You guys spend exploring, and you do discover that there are a few other mess halls,
Yeah.
bars, places to do things. and they are in fact divided into levels. You, being well known as the guest of the prince, are allowed into any of them, along with your not so well known companion. So you can essentially mark the day off if you'd like to just map out the ship more or less to know where things are, unless there's something you'd specifically like to go into and just stay there and explore.
Oh, Matt
There are
turns
just
out.
rooms where you can sit there and yeah, like you can spend the day mapping the place out, or you can choose to find a place and stay in there. They are places devoted to just listening to music. As like there's literally small little bands, and you can just sit in comfortable couches and just listen.
Oh,
Or
Neris
small
definitely
activities.
takes note
There's
of those rooms.
Yeah, there's an actual place of like for actual archery. If you want to do something like that, there are a few people who wouldn't mind like a few practice spars that are a little more organized than just straight up brawls. And honestly, there are people there just watching fights go out, like actual placing bets as entertainment, where like there are two massive dudes who just actual just boxing. All other people are just there and just watching.
Gertrude would just be surprised at that behavior of a fighting ring and just wide-eyed, like, are we gonna get hit by something if we stay here?
No.
Who
We'll be
knows?
fine if we're not, they're not gonna, like, they shouldn't be throwing each other out of the ring.
You get hit in the head with a spittoon.
Spittoon.
Uh,
He's throwing spittoons.
Mhm.
This
yeah,
ain't
let's make a quick
Splatoon.
deck save.
Of course.
Are you? Yep.
Oh, hey, look at that. A natural one.
Cool. While you say that,
Probably
while
fine.
you're talking to, yeah, you say that, and what seems to be a bloody tooth kind of just bounces in front of you, and just bounces past you two while you're talking about this.
Maybe there is a splash zone now that I think about it.
And you look, and there's just a little bit of blood on your shirt.
It's gonna kind of.
Eesh.
Yeah, no, the
Rub my
DC
foot
was
against
not high
the-
to not get hit.
Yeah.
But you do notice that the guy seems to have, like, Superman punched him clean knockout. So
Is this guy just. Is
Wow.
anything interesting about this guy that. Is this like the bodyguard? I don't know.
not that you can see, but you do also look at the people fighting. They all seem to be very large, and they look like they've been training to do this specifically. Like this might be their job. Like, because the guy that knocks him out, essentially after giving the once around cheer and victory thing, goes help the guy up and helps him get into this side stands where he gets, and two other people who also look like they've been very much training for this thing, prepare and start their next match.
Professionals in here, it seems like.
Yeah, this is just a room to watch two very large and very well built people just go at it.
All right.
Well, lovely.
What's
How's I
Virtue's
didn't get
reaction?
She's just wide-eyed, like, the scene in Mulan where she's like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yes.
Watching all the many men. Something kind of like that. That kind of expression on her face as she just waddles toward the door.
Get out of here.
And I didn't get the name of the artist guy. What was his name? It starts with an M.
So, Mortor and Mortor Zemo.
Okay. All right. I'd like to find him again at some point. See if he's made any progress.
You'll know that he'll be on the top deck, so you can go up there anytime you'd like.
Mhm.
And you'll see that he has, in fact, begun to start sketching something.
Ooh, can we tell what it is yet?
Quick perception check if you'd like, or investigation if you're just going to go up in there real
Okay.
close, depending on how you want to do it.
Maybe since we do seem to be on friendly terms, I will go up there and kind of invade his space just a little bit. Investigation.
Sneak up and-
16?
Are you going
Alright,
on your
you're-
own, or is Neris with you at this point? Just for context.
I mean, you could be with me. I think she just, if we're going around exploring the whole ship, then as we casually go by, she might poke in and see.
Okay. Yeah.
And he'll recognize you and say hello and ask who your friend is.
It's
This is Natris.
nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure. Malta, Zemo. And you see, and he started, this is the beginning sketchy, so you're not entirely sure what this is. You just know that he's starting to sketch something. If you'd like to make a guess, it's essentially just 3 vertical lines, essentially drawn in haste. And if you had to guess, you're thinking he's probably going to try and go for the ship with the sunset behind it, but not entirely sure how it's going to come together. Just this is the very beginnings of the whatever he's doing, because you look around, he's got supplies. He's got both paint, chalks, different types of material. Not entirely sure how he's going to do it, but seems to be doing something.
Okay. And so it seems to look like the ship. Or you said just 3 vertical lines at the moment.
Currently going for 3 vertical lines, and he's starting to go for 3 horizontal. But they're not solid.
Okay.
They're more like drawn in, try in different shades.
Okay.
And how long do you sit
Then,
there
then
sit there to observe?
just long enough to see him make a couple lines, I suppose, and maybe even ask, so what's it going to be?
Still not sure yet. Like I said, I rarely know what it's going to be until the end.
Interesting. So you draw from the heart without structure or guides, yet you still find your intended design from it.
Maybe.
Sorry, I get a bit analytical about these sorts of things.
I mean, that's
Are you having a Bob Ross moment?
if you like. And then you see him taking a small little bit of dust from one of the small jars. It's a small 9 set around a little setup he has, like this little stool underneath. And he essentially dabs 3 of the lines. And this, essentially from that small dab, everything connected to that line immediately starts shimmering in a odd coloration of a sky blue.
Very interesting. May I roll an
Yes.
Arcana check to see if I recognize? Sorry.
You can.
I will.
You're starting to notice. Probably a couple of things you'll notice.
There's a 22.
That is, and you will immediately recognize the effect. This is a specific kind of prestidigitation. Essentially in a powdered form. He's essentially using it to color essentially everything he touches with a specific instruction. And you'll start to note, you also notice the supplies around him. The ones at the side that he used at the beginning seem to be basic, but the jars and the few things on the side of the thing seem to be giving off a faint aura of magic, as you'll notice some of the ingredients seem to be components for spells.
Curious. Very interesting. You must be quite the master. With materials like these, certainly are rare compared to others.
Perhaps. Like I said, this is more just my hobby. Not really what I do, it's just what I got into.
Interesting. Out of curiosity, then, what brings you to Tier for Day?
Oh, me? Traveling. New place haven't been to. But there's a lot of new. I like new.
That is certainly understandable. Uh, place we've left behind is full of old, I guess.
The old is fun, but it's been done. The new is new and it's fun.
Fair enough. New experiences, new things to fascinate, I guess.
I feel like
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt. If you had something you wanted to speak with him about, Virtue.
No, I was just wanting to see if you made progress, and you did. You have. I'm sure you'll continue to.
oh, thank you.
And
Look forward to seeing the results.
We'll leave you to it. Yes.
Thanks. Hope it's something nice. If not, I heard they need more targets down in the rec room.
Rec room. Don't think that's a place we've explored quite yet.
Oh,
That would be an
well, if you need it.
unfortunate place for a painting to end up.
Have you been there already?
Yes. And
Wait.
there is certainly what was the word you used? A splash room. Or
Had we been there already? Because I know
That's my question.
yeah,
I don't
that's
know
where
if
we
you've been
just
there already.
Well, no, that's where
that's
Roya
somewhere
was.
else. That's where
Oh.
Roya was. You guys were in another place altogether. Like, that was a very much almost like a mini stadium.
Oh.
Yeah, because if you guys were in the rec room, there may or may not have been an arrow flying towards you. Totally accidentally.
Accidents happen in the rec room.
Yeah.
What happens in the rec room stays in the rec room.
Okay.
They got healers and such on standby.
It's probably for the
I would
best.
certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alternative would be not great for sure.
Mm-hmm. And so where has the prince been this whole time? I'm curious. Has he been sick with without his sea legs?
For the most part, you've not seen him for this day, but you did catch a glimpse of Kirk, who may or may not have gone past you, but looking a little worse for wear, but still smiling ever the same. Nice little bit of blood on his lip, but seemed to be going with purpose out of one of the lower decks.
Ah, okay. Rough and tumble guy.
Perhaps, who knows? You didn't really catch where he was coming from or much of what happened, just you passed him by, so seems like he's not with them at all times.
Right. Okay.
Alright, well,
And yeah.
is there something perhaps that has caught your eye that you wish to do?
thought that I might check on Constantine. Last I saw him, he was a little worse for wear.
Poor sea legs, huh?
I don't think it would be good for me to abandon him. Yes, I don't think it'd be good for me to abandon him to the whims of the sea.
Would you mind if I join you? I am a bit curious about him myself, and we haven't had the chance to meet yet.
Of course. I don't think he would mind. He seems an agreeable man. Yes, I don't think he would mind at all.
Yeah, if there's any trouble, then
And she'll just. Yep, and she'll just lead him.
All right. Real quick, just checking in. Do you guys want to keep going, or is this maybe like a good point to stop for the week, and
That
then
would
we
be a
can?
good point to stop for you guys meeting. Well, going to meet Constantine, possibly Desarde and Kurt for next time. It's getting a little late.
I am very much interested
Okay.
in learning about him. But
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I was waiting for something like this to happen so everybody can get introduced. I knew it'd be a hard thing to get Royer, but you two, I assume, would be able to help out in the rescue. I don't.
Maybe we
Yeah,
can
no.
get. Well, I was gonna say for a second there, maybe we can get Roya in on this, but she seems to want to stay as far away from him as possible. So
I mean,
That
from what
might-
you can tell, who knows?
might be a bit of a hard sell.
I mean, she might be one of his spies. Can't blow that cover, man. Come on.
That is also, in fact, fair. I do not think that is the case as of now, but I may yet be proven wrong. Who knows?
It's definitely something to try and find out.
All right.
Well, this has been fun.
This indeed has been fun. Quite.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like I like all the layers to it, and the inspiration the source of inspiration for this campaign is really neat, and it's cool to see the things that you've added in and all that. And I just really
The
like it.
game is honestly great, and they're supposed to be making a second one, and you can expand on this in a bunch of different ways, because the game itself just focuses on a normal. Essentially, they're just humans there, but add D&D, and you can branch that out into so many different ways, adding everything that's there.
Oh yeah. Many interesting avenues to explore.
Indeed.
I mean,
Also- Small list of NPCs I'm making, and only the ones you guys actually start caring about tend to make the cut, and the other ones may vanish into the background.
I feel
We
like
can
I was.
recycle them.
I mean,
Yeah.
they will eventually, if I need casualties or random people to blame for betrayals, but for the most part, the ones who are staying are likely the ones to be important, unless they already had a purpose before.
Yeah.
No one seems to care about the fishing lessons or the hooded people, so those might just become background characters.
Yeah. I feel like I was being kind of boring with Naris just kind of reading to himself and doing a little bit of people watching, but I feel like he's not necessarily the
Yeah, no,
type
he's
to
not
just
the exploring type, like to go and mess with people just to see what's up.
jump up and say, "Hey, you, we should be friends."
Like, hey, you guys, suspicious looking cult
Suspicious
guys.
looking
Guys, cult?
dudes.
Like,
He's
you
starting
guys,
a cult?
total
Can
look
I
like.
join?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's, like I said, they're just the opportunities, and there's nothing but
Nothing
going
but
forward.
time.
So, you've got 6 months, and this is the first day. We'll be settling a few things here and likely skipping through the weeks next session. after the introduction.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Constantine and Isarde, but we'll see.
Oh god, I'm just imagining. What if we like meet a couple of NPCs and we can actually like start like a club of something? Like, hey, let's all join up like twice a week to do this while we're on this trip.
I mean, you guys have got 6 months. You could totally make
That'd
a
be
D&D
interesting.
in this campaign.
That's right, it's 6 months. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, no, ship travel, even for this biggest ship, not. It's a thing. It's a slow moving thing.
Oh god. We do D&D session and we have to play characters playing our characters. Play our characters playing other characters. That could be
Yeah, no, their version of Avalon is just us right now in the modern world.
What was that one joke? Suburbans and soccer moms?
Something like that. Humans and houses, something like that.